Candlewick on Brilliance Audio presents The Mermaid, the Witch, and the Sea by Maggie Tokuda-Hall, performed by Kate Rudd. Evelyn washed her hands again. The telltale sand under her fingernails stubbornly resisted the fine soap from Quark that her mother, the Lady Hasegawa, had imported especially for her. Her mother claimed that only a foreign soap meant for rice paddy farmers could possibly conquer Evelyn's dirty fingernails, since her habits were far too coarse for a good imperial girl. It was a rude thing to have said, but more so because the lady said it in front of her lady's maid, who was from Quark. And sure, maybe digging about the shore near their home looking for shells was not a most ladylike activity. The whole coastline was black from the filth of the Crandon port. Crandon was the capital of the Nippon Empire, and nearly every type of trading vessel passed through her waters. But it was not so dirty that lovely pink and white shells could not be excavated by those with the patience to do it. Evelyn had convinced her own lady's maid, Keiko, that the Lady Hasegawa would never again find out that she'd been scrounging on the shore. But now Evelyn was carelessly close to breaking that promise, which could lose Keiko her job, not to mention any reference the Lady Hasegawa might give her. But still, somehow Evelyn could not be called away from her messy hobby. It was as though the sea called to her especially. "Miss, the lady has called for you again," Keiko said. She was a little frantic now. As Evelyn's maid, she'd been subjected to all manner of admonishment for Evelyn's many irresponsibilities, but mainly her tardiness. This afternoon's tea would be no exception. "I'm sorry, Keiko, truly, but look at this one." Evelyn held up a whelk shell. A spiral of blue worked its way from tip to door, and only the very point of its apex had been snapped off. "It's practically intact." "Hold still." Keiko grabbed Evelyn's hands and, finger by finger, dragged the blunt end of a sewing needle beneath the nail, scraping out the grit. It hurt, and one of her fingers bled, but Evelyn was glad for Keiko's help. She always was. "Thank goodness for you, Keiko," Evelyn whispered, "or my mother would have disowned me years ago." Keiko smiled, gave Evelyn a nudge with her shoulder. "Thanks to the Emperor, you mean. Now go, please, before I'm sacked and you're cut out of the family." Evelyn gave Keiko a quick kiss on the cheek and ran to the Tsukiya, where her mother's tea ceremony was held every day. The Lady Hasegawa and Evelyn had been staying in their Crandon home since Lord Hasegawa had been forced to take a consultancy role in the family's shipping company. The Hasegawas had come upon hard times in recent years, and though the Lady Hasegawa would never admit it, they had all but abandoned their country manor and nearly all of their staff. And though they were still attended to by a handful of footmen, ladies' maids, guards, a cook, and a gardener, one could scarcely ignore the conspicuous lack of service in their household. Hasegawa was an old name, and it was her father's dishonor that they were not better kept. So many servants gone meant that Evelyn had hardly any family left either. The servants had been the ones who had raised her, after all. It had been her nanny who'd kissed her skinned knees, the stable boys who'd played chase. She barely knew her parents, and they certainly did not know her. However, without fail, the Lady Hasegawa still demanded the high tea ceremony each afternoon, and Evelyn's presence was mandatory. Evelyn wasn't exactly sure why. While she liked a good rice ball as much as anyone, tea was invariably boring and painfully tedious, especially in the summer when there was so much to see and do, all of which existed outside her mother's Tsukiya.